one call, just a horrible, horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of TakeaSide. I'm your host, Max McElroy, and we've got a great show for you today. Before we get started, be sure to log on to Sided.co or the Sided Debates app to post, comment, and engage with different topics across all sports. The more engagement your post gets, the faster you'll climb that leaderboard for a chance at a $25 Amazon gift card. With action from the NFL, NHL, and NBA, along with college hoops and the World Cup starting, now is a great time in sports to get on and start posting. Switching into our first debate, I am joined by Kyle Mathis, Brady Borgelli, and Will Robin to discuss the United States' performance in the World Cup so far, and if they can get a win against Iran on Tuesday. Along with that, an overlook on how the rest of the tournament will shape up. Kyle, how are you feeling about the U.S. performance?
Thanks, Max. I guess I'll go first. We're just going to get straight into it. We got a lot to talk about since the World Cup's been going on for about a week and a half now. But honestly, I'm just going to say it. I'm a little disappointed with the United States so far in these first two games. The U.S. were pretty much favorites against Wales, and they let up a rough penalty kick in the 80th minute to end up drawing with Wales, which they never should have done in the first place. They had that game on lock. They dominated the first half. All they had to do was just play defense in the second half, and they just conceded a bad penalty kick. And in England, it's great that USA tied to England, but the reason why there's so much disappointment about that is because the U.S. was dominating that game the whole way, and England could not find any way into that game, and the USA, it's a shame that they couldn't have put one goal on the board in that game, and I think that USA could have 6 points right now if all that went right. Obviously not everything goes right, but I think right now they should at least have 4 points because they should have beaten Wales.
Yeah, I would say, the country of the United States is disappointed with the team overall. They didn't qualify for the World Cup 4 years ago, and now they're sitting here, and the only way that they can advance is with a win against Iran, which that the game will be played tomorrow, and I guess we'll see what happens then. But yeah.
Basically, it doesn't matter how well. I thought both games we played really well, but it doesn't matter at the end of it if we're not getting 3 points at the end of the game. I thought especially in our midfield, Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams have been great defensively, but we can't score. We can't score goals, and I don't know how we're supposed to win games if we can't score goals. In our last 10 matches as the USA as a whole, we have 3 wins, 6 draws, and 1 loss, which is okay, but okay is not going to cut it for the United States if they want to make it to the knockout stage.
Yeah, that's the thing. I totally agree with you. I think scoring goals is a huge part, and the U.S. needs to score goals to beat Iran in tomorrow's game, because with Iran being 1 point above the U.S. right now, I think it's safe to say that Iran's going to play very defensively tomorrow. And if the USA can't score goals, then they're not going to be able to win that game. And the USA has no excuse for being in this pickle right now, to be completely honest. They have 6 players on the current roster at the World Cup that's in the Premier League, and they played really well in the CONCACAF qualifying for the World Cup. It seemed like they really didn't have much problem scoring goals in those qualifiers. It seems like maybe, they do have a young team. It seems like maybe the World Cup stage is getting to them a little bit with their inexperience right now.
Coming into World Cup play, if you're a USA fan or if you're a USA player, you had to feel pretty good about yourself. You're in the pool with England, Iran, and Wales, and nothing against Iran and Wales. They're decent teams, but when you look at that, coming into the pool, England was your toughest challenge. And, you play your first game against Wales, who's by far the worst team in the pool, coming in with a draw and a loss. And then, the USA drew that game, and we should have won that game at the first half with how they played. And then they tied England, which I think was a shocker to everybody, especially with how young the USA team is. And now Tuesday they have to beat Iran to advance. So, a little bit of a disappointment for USA players and fans. So.
And exactly what you said about the inexperience in the United States. I don't think a single player has played in the World Cup yet, especially not qualifying in 2018. And that's what Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan said pregame. They knew that this was a huge stage for them. They've never played on this big of a stage, and it's kind of showing with all these young players.
Yeah, and one thing that Dempsey and Donovan said after the game against Wales was how disappointed they were. And I think with the fact that they're disappointed being former players, I think it shows how disappointed the whole country was after that draw. And it's truly a disappointment, but I think the USA needs to just put that behind them for now and just look forward to tomorrow, because I think it would be a major disappointment, even more than everybody is right now, if the U.S. was eliminated in the group stage after we were favorites to make it into the knockout stage. So, but the U.S. does still have an opportunity to actually get number one in the group. If they beat Iran and Wales upsets England, USA would be number one. I mean, how do you guys feel about the U.S. having a chance to be number one out of the group?
I mean, obviously it's still a chance, but with Wales having a loss and a draw, and they lost to Iran 2-0, they tied USA. I don't think, with how good England is, a world superpower when it comes to soccer, I don't think there's a chance for Wales to upset England. Obviously we have a better chance to beat Iran, which still, isn't likely. If you're Iran, all you have to do is you have to either win or tie, but the USA must win in order to advance. So it's likely that we could get number one, but for me, I'm just hoping that the USA can scrap that 2 spot. So
I think we'll make it out of the group stage. Honestly, I think we have a talented enough team, and this is way too much offensive power, and they just need to perform. And I think we'll do just that.
Well,
you guys have score predictions for tomorrow?
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'll go first. I think that the USA, with Iran playing defensively, they won't go for many attacks. And with USA struggling to score goals, I think the final score will be 1-0 USA with the victory.
I think if the USA can finally find something on the offensive end, I think they might be able to scrape through with a 1-0 victory. So that would be my score prediction for tomorrow.
USA 2, Iran 0.
Wow, USA scoring 2 goals.
That's bold.
Okay,
That's bold.
That is a bold
I think so.
statement right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see if that ends up becoming true. You can catch USA and Iran tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Fox, and that'll do it for our debate, and we'll send it to break.
A big problem in our student population is the reoccurring issue of students procrastinating on assignments, which can lead to late or missed assignments, higher levels of stress, and ultimately lower grades. Teachers are actively trying to ensure that students have all the tools needed to succeed, but the student has to put in the work and plan ahead to accomplish a healthy balance between their academics, social life, and mental health. Some ways to avoid procrastination are to keep a planner, block out time in your day to work on assignments, and to limit how long you use certain apps that may cause you to procrastinate even more.
Welcome back. For our next debate, I'm joined by Barry Anderson and Matt Minier to debate who is this year NFL Offensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill. These two receivers are leading the league in yards, and both have their teams currently in the 2 seed in the NFL playoff picture. Which receiver deserves to lock up the award? Barry, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are that Tyreek Hill will win the Offensive Player of the Year. And let's just start out and say that Tyreek Hill has changed the Dolphins. They're 8-3, and last year, before Tyreek Hill got there, they finished 3rd in the AFC East. They were 9-8, and now already they're like 8-3 and won 8 games, and there's 6 more games left to play. So I feel like impact is a big reason, because come on, if Tyreek Hill wasn't playing for the Dolphins wouldn't be 8-3 right now. And also, the man is known for taking you over the top or getting his yards from down below after the catch. And he can find soft spots in the zones just like Justin Jefferson can. And his route running is underrated. Obviously, he has speed. And he's always been in the top 5 wide receiver conversations, even before Justin Jefferson was in the league. Mm-hmm. And now it's time to pay Tyreek his respect. I feel like Tyreek Hill's a top 1 wide receiver right now.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill is amazing. He's improved probably since he's been with Kansas City. He's always been a good receiver. But let's just look at the stats. These stats are so close between the two. Exactly. You got in yards, they're literally 1 yard apart. Tyreek Hill is 1 more yard than Justin Jefferson at 12:33 for Tyreek Hill and 12:32 for Justin. But these guys are just, I think they're far and away the top 2 candidates for Offensive Player of the Year. I think maybe third is maybe Stephon Diggs. We talked about that before the debate, but I think these 2 guys are far and away the best. But I think Justin Jefferson has the edge. And when you talk about how the Dolphins have success this year, the Vikings are I believe they're 9-2. Mm-hmm. I think one of the best teams in the league, and just the records show that they're very good offensively too. Kirk Cousins, the new nightmare. He's definitely stepped it up, especially in the last primetime game. But yeah, Justin Jefferson is just I think he's one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league, and I think he's going to win this award.
Oh, okay, I like that. But let me tell you something here. Just answer me. Who's a better QB, Kirk Cousins or Tua?
Right now, it's Tua, I'd say.
No, tell me, who's a better quarterback overall, Kirk Cousins or Tua Tagovailoa?
I mean, Kirk Cousins, yes, he has some games where he struggles, but he's very consistent. I think right now Tua is literally boosted by his receivers, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. If he did not have those two guys, Kirk Cousins wouldn't be the better quarterback.
Kirk Cousins
100%.
has T.J. Hockenson, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen.
Yeah, he didn't add Hockenson to the trade deadline.
Well, Hawkinson's played for 4 games just about, and Hawkinson's been great. So I feel like they're in the same situation with talent around them. And Vikings do have a better record. So I just feel like, and plus, Tyreek Hill has missed 3 games. I mean, not missed 3 games, but Tua's missed 3 games, and Tyreek Hill's been playing with Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater.
Good point.
And he still is at the top. And also, Tyreek Hill is also tied for first with 21 receptions over 20 yards. And also, Tyreek Hill has 4 games over 160 yards. So that says a lot about these teams' game planning against Tyreek Hill. And obviously, that game plan hasn't worked. And Tua's lower arm strength, Tyreek's adjusting to get back to the ball. Like, I feel like if you see some of the plays of his arm strength, if his arm strength increases, Tyreek Hill has more touchdowns and more yards right now.
Yeah, they're both, Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill, both really good after the catch. I think they're both top of the league in that category. But there's one question I want to ask you. Do you think Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson are both going to get to over 2,000? Because right now they're on pace for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, but I feel like Tyreek Hill's getting it first. Just because I'm just a guy of one-upping. You know, I feel like Tyreek Hill's just going to get there first and just have higher yards.
I think when you look at, the defenses they're going to be playing for the rest of the year, the Dolphins do face a tough defenses coming up. They got San Francisco, Buffalo, New England, New York Jets to finish out the year. But, I mean, Justin Jefferson and the Vikings, they also have similar. They're playing the Jets as well. They're playing the Giants, who are also good defensively. But the Lions, they're trash defensively. You got the Colts. I mean, the Colts are we don't really know much about the Colts right now. But then they get the Packers, and then they get the Bears, who are terrible, terrible secondary. I think Justin is going to light them up for the last game of the year, and I think I agree with you. I think they're both going to get over 2,000 yards to end the season.
Oh yeah, it's 1A and 1B. And have you heard about like NFL fans and like Chiefs fans saying like, "Oh, Tyreek Hill is going to regress. He doesn't have Patrick Mahomes." And now look at him. He's playing like his best season yet. Tyreek Hill had 1,239 yards last year. And he already has 1,233 yards. And I said before, like, we got 6 games left. You know, his highest with the Chiefs is 1,439. And it's crazy to say that he's going to excel that. He's going to get his career high this season. And guys like McCole Hardman, Marquise Brown, Anthony Schwartz, Robbie Anderson, Marquise Goodwin, Tyquan Thornton, they all are fast, just like Tyreek Hill. And some people say some of these guys are faster than Tyreek Hill. Well, why aren't they doing what Tyreek Hill does? And I just feel like Tyreek Hill is a generational talent. I just feel like
he's not human.
Yeah, he's. I think he's the best athlete in the league. Hot take.
Best athlete in the league. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just feeling it.
I mean, he's definitely the fastest guy in the league for sure.
He's strong too.
But when you compare also these guys' touchdowns, if you look at Cooper Kupp last year, he had 22 touchdowns. He won Offensive Player of the Year. Right now, let's see. Yeah, Justin Jefferson only has 5, and Tyreek Hill has 4. So they're not excelling in the touchdown department right now.
Yeah.
But yards, they're going crazy.
Yeah, and plus I want to say my last thing. Like Tyreek Hill just like has a higher first down percentage too. So like he's getting the targets on first down, and obviously Tua's looking his way more with 64.1% first down percentage, and Justin Jefferson only has 61% first down.
And one last thing I just want to say, I think Jay Jettis deserves this just because of his catch against the Bills. That catch was amazing. one of the best of all time.
I was jumping in. Yeah.
I said, yeah, it was an amazing catch, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who wins this award and if these guys go over 2,000. But we'll send you a break and we'll be right back.
With college football conference championships approaching this weekend, many teams are looking to lock up playoff positioning, and for other schools, a New Year's Day bowl game. However, two impending matchups have big upset potential: the Big Ten championship with Michigan versus Purdue, and the Big 12 championship with TCU taking on Kansas State. I'm here with Jordan Ziegler and Jackson Tennant to debate which of these upsets is more likely. Jackson, let's hear your prediction.
Thank you, Max. For me personally, I think Kansas State has a really good shot at beating TCU. I think TCU has everything to lose. If Kansas State wins, I don't think TCU is going to the college football playoff. The college football playoff committee would probably favor a one-loss Ohio State team or even prove their SEC bias and go with Alabama. Kansas State led TCU 28-17 at halftime last time they played each other. And although TCU ended up winning, it proves that K-State knows how to beat TCU both offensively and defensively. And you have to remember, during that game, both Adrian Martinez, who was the original starting quarterback, he got hurt in the second drive and didn't return for the game. Will Howard, who's going to be playing TCU in the conference championship, he got hurt as well. And running back Deuce Vaughn, who's been a cog for that offense that whole year, he got hurt. So there were so many players that missed pivotal parts of that game, a big reason why they ended up losing. Running back Deuce Vaughn can be such a big factor for this game, and I just think that TCU would be the team, if there would be, to be the team that lose in the conference championship game.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Obviously, TCU has been on the ropes pretty much every game they've played in this year. I do think the momentum they have from that 62-14 win over Iowa State, like, their offense showed up, their defense showed up, they're playing for a college football playoff spot. I think the fact that they have everything to lose is what's going to make them competitive in this game, and that's why I'm a little on the fringe about the TCU-Kansas State game. One thing I will say, Michigan, I think, is already in the college football playoffs, which puts, for one, less pressure on their conference championship game. And for two, they're playing Purdue, otherwise known as the Spoiler Makers. Mm-hmm. The Purdue Boilermakers, first off, are 35th in football power rankings index this year. That's not a bad team. I know everyone's been like, okay, the Big Ten West has been awful this year. Purdue is easily the best team in that division and are in the conference championship game as a good team. But most importantly, it's a bad matchup for Michigan. Purdue has the 21st best passing offense in the nation, and Michigan has the 91st worst passing defense. They allow more passing yards than a majority of college football teams, and they're going up against a team that passes the ball really well. And that's why I think bad matchups are kind of what I was looking for here, and Purdue and Michigan is the worst matchup on paper in my eyes.
I like Purdue a lot. I like their quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. However, I believe coming off of that win against Ohio State, if you're Michigan, I just think that momentum is too much of a wave to lose to a team like Purdue, who, again, are a good team, like you said. But, again, Michigan, they rolled into Ohio State, beat them 45-23, dominated them on both sides of the ball. C.J. Stroud ultimately put up good stats, but was not effective enough in the second half. Matter of fact, Michigan's defense didn't allow a single touchdown in the second half. That defensive prowess right there, I just don't think Purdue can overcome that.
Yeah, there's also something to be said about looking ahead, though, right? Like Michigan, they just beat Ohio State, the biggest rivalry in college football, second year in a row winning it. That's huge for them, pretty much guaranteeing them a spot in the playoffs. They're thinking about whoever their playoff matchup is going to be. They're not thinking about, oh, here's the team that barely survived a really weak Big Ten West that we're going to have to go play competitively. That's not the thought process. Like, it's
unrealistic to say Michigan isn't thinking about the playoffs, isn't thinking about who their matchup's going to be. In college football, you talk about trap games all the time, and you're usually talking about them in the regular season. You come off a big win in the regular season, and then you play a pretty mediocre team and randomly get upset. That's where you see a majority of upsets in college football. I think we have a trap game in the conference championship with Purdue and Michigan, and that's why I love that Purdue-Michigan game so much.
Yes, but I also believe that winning a conference championship is still so important. And if you're a team like Michigan, you have something to prove. And you're right. I do think that their security in terms of if they were to lose, they would still be in the playoffs. But that's not a complete guarantee. And I think a loss to Purdue would not look good for them. And if you're Ohio State, losing to Michigan, I don't know if that's as bad as losing to Purdue. And I think if you're looking at Kansas State and TCU, if TCU were to lose to Kansas State, like that ruins their season. And like I said, I think Kansas State can do it. I just think their offensive prowess and their defensive prowess could lead them to victory.
Yeah, but like you said, if TCU loses, their season's over. It's a guarantee. They're not making the playoffs, and then they also didn't win their championship game, so they're not making the Sugar Bowl. All of a sudden, they're ending up in like the Alamo Bowl or something, which obviously it's not a bad bowl game, but it's
not the same.
Starting 12-0 and ending up in the Alamo Bowl is not at all how you want your season to go. So there's something to be said about new head coach, making all the way a conference championship game, haven't lost a game yet this year, and I know TCU is famous for choking away opportunities to make national championship games and college football playoff games. It's time, in my opinion. It's time for them to get over the hump, team of destiny. They're motivated. They have everything to lose and everything to play for. I know it's hard to beat a team twice in a year, but I just don't think Kansas State is going to be able to get it done.
See, I think Kansas State has been impressive all year. Even in some of their losses, they've been competitive. I think this is the time where they spoil TCU. They've been the story all year. It's been a really good story. They've played very well. They've won games in very close fashion, keeping that undefeated record alive. But if you're looking at Michigan, I think they're a powerhouse. I don't think anything's stopping them. And so that's why I think Kansas State is much more likely to upset their game against TCU than Purdue is to Michigan.
Well, obviously huge playoff implications coming into the conference championship game. And we're going to be looking at Purdue, Michigan, and TCU, Kansas State. But every single conference championship game is going to be close. So just look out for what's going to happen. And we're going to send it to Max to wrap this up.
And before I send it to the outro, I want to give a quick thing. USC versus Utah in the Pac-12 championship has big playoff implications for USC. They're currently inside the playoff. They're the fourth team. But Utah already spoiled their undefeated season once. Might be able to do it again, so be sure to watch for that. But thank you for tuning in to today's show. As always, be sure to log on to the Sided Debates app or sided.co to start posting, voting, and commenting on other debates. And follow us on social media. Our Twitter is at TakeaSideKU, where we will post clips from the show as well as some bonus debates throughout the week. Our Instagram is also at TakeaSideKU. We will be doing some live debates and posting some extra content for you. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at Take a Side, we'll see you next week.